And I think we're live, right? Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday stream here. Thank you for joining me at this later hour here. Since the time change, I sort of had to go back to the older time zone again, and so sorry I couldn't do this earlier. But excited to be here. Thanks for joining me, everybody, and nice seeing everyone in the chat already. So we're going to be taking a look at this event deck. This is a Dark Arcane Commander deck, and you might see from my banner, I took a look at the skills, and this could be a really strong deck. Now, I have known to be really, really wrong before, and so let's hope that is not the case this time. And we've got CastW726. Thank you for joining me in the stream here. And we got Jericho, Hamid, Ronald Vincent Hartman, and William Kessler. Thank you for joining me here. Okay, so let's go right into it. So what I'm going to do is we're going to open up 3 tiers. That is all I have enough gems for. And what I will probably do is I might try to open up in the sort of the side pack a little bit, because this does seem to be a pretty strong deck. And I'm going to also take a look at some of the other options, because I don't actually have a Dark Arcane Commander deck. So we will see what we can do with that. So let's go ahead and jump into the pack opening. So 3 tiers, nothing too exciting, but we will see if I get anything good out of this particular set of pulls. And for me, I think that what's going to be interesting is there's going to be a lot of options depending on what you have also. Dark Commander decks actually have gotten really, really good recently. And so there's a lot of options that you can try and go with. So we will explore those options also. And excuse me. Yeah, so Cask W726, I do remember you from the last stream, so thank you very much once again. And Bob Seward, thank you so much for the good luck wishes. So tier 1 didn't get anything there. So tier 2, we will get our guaranteed support card. And we'll see if maybe by tier 3, if I can get one of the 2 gold cards, that'll be really, really cool. Because I think both of them are really useful. And so we will see what they're about. So here is the support card, Quartermaster Billy. If you take a look at the artwork, it's also very similar to one of the earlier one of the early Gen 3 Dark Arcane Commander decks. So it's the artwork's actually really interesting, although I kind of feel like they've really improved on it quite a bit. All right, so tier 2 also just got the guaranteed card plus a second support, so we do have 2 support cards to work with here. And then tier 3, we can expect to get a guaranteed relic. So we will have at least a relic here, and we will see if we get anything else. And so once again, thank you very much, CastW726, for the donation. It's much, much appreciated. Thank you so much. We got a gold reward. Here is our main event relic. And that is the soul of, that's called the Privateer's Hand Cannon. Now, for any of you who are, who enjoy, the pirate theme, this is going to be the event for you. All right, so 3 tiers. We got ourselves 2 support cards and 1 relic. So unfortunately, no Master Collection card and no Master Collection card, no ultra rare card. So we will have to be creative this event. But let's take a look at the cards first, because I do think that this is a really strong deck. And so we will let's go ahead and collect these first. And then what we'll do is we will talk about the cards themselves, and I'll explain what I think about them. And then also we can explore some of the other options that I think would be potentially useful, depending on the cards that you do have. And so Cask, you say you think that the support cards are getting repetitive. It would be nice that they increased attack or damage. And I would be inclined to agree there. I think that the support cards, they do play a role. You'll see in this particular event deck, it does seem very different, but as far as the skills go, they are always pretty much the same. And so it would be good if they could offer some different skill set for us to experiment with. But it hasn't changed in a while. So that would be something that I hope that they change. Okay, so let's take a look at the cards right now. This is the ultimate form, Seaborn Scalawags. And you can see here the battle skill. What it does is it'll give you 8 Power Gem 6s. And then it will also then upgrade all of your dark power gems by 1 rank. So this is an upgrade deck. And on top of that, it will increase the Dark Commander damage by 80% for 3 full turns with a 3-turn cooldown. And so now we have a deck that is going to give you a combination of an upgrade as well as a damage boost, which is really strong. And so the passive ability, it will also create up to 6 Dark Power Gems, 1 for every attacking Dark Commander. So it's interesting because it's a 6, but you can only bring, I guess you can have an ally, right? So if you're in a crusade, you have 6 Dark Commanders, then it will create a total of 6 Power Gems when you attack. But then in a regular fight, if you're fighting against bosses, for example, you only bring in 5. You can only bring up to 5 Dark Commanders total. Then you're going to have 5 Power Gem 6s when you attack. So it would change the number depending on whether you bring an ally or not. And so another passive ability also increases the Dark Commander's max health by 25%. So now you have increased survivability, and you can also increase your damage output, upgrade your power gems, and then spawn a bunch of power gems also for the crush. So this is really an ultimate form that has pretty much everything. It does have thorns, so we have to deal with thorns. Again, thorns will damage you, but it will not kill you. Now let's take a look at the Master Collection card here. So this is Captain Saltmane, and it is a lion. So Saltmane. All right, the battle skill here, it will increase the Dark Commander damage by 80% for 3 turns. That's the battle skill here. But the passive ability also allows you to create passively power gems. So every turn, theoretically, you'll be able to create additional power gems. And so with the way that you would play on attack type decks is you could wait 1 turn so that you can get all of your power gems that are passively created, and then activate the skills that give you a power boost, and then another battle skill that also creates the gems to give you the maximum number of power gems available, and then you can get a really big damage output. And so for this, if you're using your Master Collection card plus your ultimate form, then what you're really going to do is you're going to not attack on turn 0, you're going to attack on turn 1 so you can capitalize on the additional power gems you're going to get just from attacking. And given that it's a commander event, you are not in a rush anyways. And so you're going to be a hit once. And so you're going to have to deal with dodge or the other one is thorn. And we'll take a look and see what the third debuff is going to be. But I think that is going to be how you're going to get your maximum damage. You're not really looking for a turn 0 deck here. You're looking for something to maximize your damage potential. So your Master Collection card is going to give you the damage boost. And then we've also got the ultra rare card, Navigator Ramsey. What this card is going to do is this is a card that will give you battle skill. The battle skill gives you power gems. Okay, it's going to give you 8 power gem 6s and then an upgrade. Then the passive ability will also give you a max HP. So ultra rare card plus ultimate form. This is going to give you a total of 50% additional health, and so you're going to have a lot more health than your other cards. Right, so if the boss hits really hard, you'll still be able to survive longer. There's no revive, but you should survive a lot longer. And this is the card that's going to give you more power gems, and it's going to give you a upgrade by 1. So if it goes from power gem 6, it'll go up to power gem 7. Slightly weaker than what we know from Culinary Kings, which upgrades by 2. But I'm going to say that in this particular case, we're going to talk about what's better. Is it going to be the damage boost, or is it going to be the power gem upgrade? This also counters toxin, so we do have toxin to deal with, so that's something that's very important. I'll talk about this in a little bit. But if we go back to what I said earlier, what's better, power gem boost, the battle damage boost, or power gem upgrade? In my opinion, in my observation, if we're talking about, upgrading all of your power gems by 1 versus an 80% damage boost, the 80% damage boost is actually going to give you an edge. So I've tested this before, and I feel that, yes, having everything all combined is great. But if you had to only pick one of the two, if you can only pick one between a damage boost for all of your commanders or an upgrade of all your dark power gems. In certain situations, I would go with the Master Collection card that gives you a damage boost, because if you're planning on maximizing your damage for Dark Commander events, then this is a better card for you, all right? Because you're going to get the 80% damage increase, which will generally give you higher damage overall. However, if you're thinking sort of utility-wise, you want a deck that you can use in Slayer and Commander events, then I would say that the Ultra Rare card actually plays a better role, because this will not matter whether you're in a Slayer event or if you're in a Commander event, because this will give you power gems, and it'll give you an upgrade of all dark power gems. So you could technically use this in a Dark Slayer event, for example, get your upgrade. Similarly with using cards like the Colossi, right? Earth-Shaking Colossi, same idea. You upgrade all of your power gems, and that gives you more of a damage damage output. It's just that the best situation is to have them all in Commander. So if you're going for to go for one of the two cards for this particular event, then that's something you want to think about. If you want to go with a Master Collection card, you're really only going to be benefiting the Commander events. For Dark Commander events, you're not really going to be using this card anywhere else again. Whereas the Ultra Rare card will give you more versatility for using in a Dark Slayer event as well in the future. So that's something to think about. Now let's go on and take a look at the event card, which I didn't even get, which is Albus the Lookout. And this gives you a self damage. And so this isn't, so we've seen this in a lot of different cases. This doesn't give you the damage boost for all cards. It gives it for just itself. And then it also creates 3 dark power gems on attack. And we also saw that we had to deal with Toxin. I mentioned that's going to be something important, and I'll bring that up in just a little bit. Okay. And so let's see. We've also got the support card, and this is something that Cass W was talking about, where the feeling is the skills are pretty much the same across the board, so it kind of gets very repetitive, and I tend to agree here, right? So if you take a look, the support card here, it creates 7 gems and then heals for 5,000 heal recovery, but it has a 1 turn cooldown, so you can keep activating this. The idea is you have a lot of health and you can heal every single turn, but that's all the card does. And really, in sort of my situation, so I got 2 support cards from this deck, for example, I'm not really going to be able to get a lot of damage out of this unless I have something that can give me a damage boost or something like that. Unfortunately, don't have anything like that, but it does help you with dispelling thorns. So if you're dealing with thorns, this is a card that you'll want to bring in. There are other cards that we can take a look at that's probably going to be better than this support card, but in my opinion, you're probably going to be using this deck. If you want to use just this deck, right, what would be better? Would it be better to have more Master Collection cards or more Ultra Rare cards? Well, it depends on what you have, right? So if you manage to get the full team, then you're going to want to for sure run it with your Ultra Rare card, Ultimate Form, and also Master Collection card, because you also get an additional upgrade. So if you can upgrade by 2, then you're going to get... you're definitely going to get better damage output there. And now the question is it better to run a second Ultra Rare card so that you can do a total of 3 upgrades? And I think that this is probably where it's going to be interesting, because for the most part, some people will probably also have the shiny Master Collection card, right? So if they get the shiny plus the regular, then what they're going to do is they're going to get an additional 100 2 additional 80% damage increases, and it's you multiply, so you don't just add it, so you actually end up getting more. So I would say Ultimate Form, Master Collection card plus shiny, and an Ultra Rare card is already going to be pretty strong. So what's going to be your 5th card? If I have to sort of, recommend it, I would say you should play around with the following options. The first one is going to be the Earth-Shaking Colossi. Now, I don't have that card, but I do have one of the 2, so I can show you what that's from, right? So Citadel is the Ultra Rare card version of that deck. So unfortunately, this is not the one that gives you the upgrade, but it gives you a damage boost. So I likely will run this card with as well, because I get damage boost and I can also get upgrade. So you'll get both of the best worlds if you have if you get the card, so we can see, you can evolve here. You can take a look at the actual card. Earth Shaking Colossi is definitely one of the cards I recommend to put with this deck, because you're going to get some upgrades. So this one is a little bit weaker because it only upgrades 7 cards. So you're really looking at when you crush the deck, crush the gems. But it also gives you a 60% damage increase. So now you have 2 ultimate forms that can give you damage boost, and you can also get upgrade. So if you wait until you're fully crushed, you'll want to activate this last. Well, you'll want to activate this when you have something to crush. So you can upgrade that by, I think, by 1. It upgrades by 1. Yeah, so it upgrades by 1. And then run your ultimate form again to create more and then upgrade. So you'll get pretty good damage output for sure. If you're having issues with, dispels and other stuff, some of the other people have also mentioned, another option you can go with is going with the Immortal Killer, for example. So Defraggers is also another really good card to go with. What this does is it gives you, very quickly every 2 turns, you get power gems, and you can dispel. You can cleanse all your debuffs also, so you can cleanse your, you can cleanse the thorns, you can cleanse toxin, and you can cleanse also, I forget the other one already, a dodge, right? So you can also get that dispel dodge. So you can get all those. It will increase its own damage by 50%, and so you're going to get the benefit of the 50% damage on its own, plus all of the Dark Commander damage increase. So this card, if you put in here, it will end up doing more damage than the other cards. Okay, so because you have a card that gives itself self damage, this card will end up doing more damage overall when you put it into a team that gives all commanders an upgrade. So there is a very similar deck that we saw just previously, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this is the Earth Commander deck. I don't actually have that particular deck, but I used the coins last time, and this is the team, right? So if you have the United Shard Bearers, what we saw here is, it also gives 80% damage for all Earth commanders. And so this is very similar. The only thing that this one doesn't have is the gem upgrade. And what people did was they ran this card, and they played it with the Brothers in Banditry together. So Brothers in Banditry has 300% increased damage for itself. So significantly higher, but what people were seeing was this was the card that was going in, in quadrillions worth of damage, just paired with sorry, I forgot the name already. Just paired with the United Shard Bearers, they were getting just huge damage output. And so if you end up putting in Defraggers along with this ultimate form and also with Colossi, then you're going to get really good damage overall, and your Defraggers is going to outperform the rest of your cards. So that is also another option to consider. Those are the best cards to probably play around with for this event if you have them. And so Con William Deep is also in the chat right now explaining more of the damage boost. So he's saying that Ultimate Form plus 2 Master Collection cards will give you 580% damage boost. So the way to understand how damage boost works is basically just kind of, look at your Ultimate Form skills, right? So if we take a look at our Ultimate Forms, the thing that we're always looking at is, we'll take a look at Defraggers, for example. We'll say, at 1 star, it gives you right here a 900% boost. This is 900% damage boost. And now on top of that, if you're getting another 580, right, by running Ultimate Form plus 2 Master Collection cards, then you are effectively going up to 1400. And 1400 is what you will get at, I think, 5 stars, right? 5 or 6 stars is when you get about 4. So let's see, 900. Then you get 4 stars is 11. Between 5 to 6 stars, like that kind of damage output. So that is how strong these damage increases are. All right, and so you're going to get, you're going to get really good output. The only thing is none of these cards have delay. And so one of the things you can also consider is say, well, this is a, arcane deck. So should you run it with jailers? Well, you could, but then you're going to want to make sure that you can activate this, because none of the other cards I mentioned here gives you a turn delay. And the only time that you're going to be able to benefit from jailers is if you can do a turn delay. So you can at least activate one, right? So you can activate this, then you can activate the cards that give you the Dark Commander boost. And then you're going to also get some really good output here, but attack boost works a little bit less effectively in commander events than they do in Slayer events. And so you might run it and it could give you a good output, but I would say damage, excuse me, because you're going to be doing like off affinity and stuff, so it might be harder to run, but I'm sure some people can find success in it. So I would say give it a shot and just try it and see. But I would say that the easiest way is to combine all of your Dark Commander cards. Okay, and so I can't blame he's already done all the math, right? So Defraggers is going to hit for 1400% if you have Ultimate Form, Master Collection card, plus the Colossi and the Defraggers. So it's going to hit really hard also, right? On top of what it will already do. And so that would be the deck. So what I recommend this, and I'm going to start with this right now, and I'll say, with any deck that comes out that contains any sort of a boost, I would say generally you're going to get really good output with it, and it's going to be something that you'll be able to use in the future. And so yes, this is definitely a deck that I would say you should go after it if you have the resources. And if you do get this, I don't think you're going to I don't think it's going to be a deck that you're going to regret getting, because you're always going to be able to benefit from the upgrade plus the damage boost for all Dark Commander events. Not going to be as useful in Slayer events, but the upgrade can be beneficial. Okay, and so we're talking about the artwork. I'll just kind of show you. If you take a look at the Arcane Killer, I don't actually have that anymore. I think it was Slayer though. It's not Commander. Do I have the cards? So way back, right? So this is the deck we're talking about. So the deck is going to be the Transformed Trailblazers. This is one of the first Dark Slayer decks in Generation 3. And the artwork is very similar here. So we also have the I guess it's a goat here, right? So similar artwork, but that was from maybe like 2 years ago now. So what are the other options then that you can go with if you don't have the deck? So I was kind of playing around with this a little bit, and I was thinking one option would be, I'm going to just build it as right now so you can see it visually. So one option I have is to go with the Slayer option. So going Slayers isn't bad. If you don't have any other decks to go with, like if you don't have the killer skills at all for Dark Commander's Arcane, then might as well run it with a Slayer deck. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some of the other options you can go with. So what I can do here is run it with Custodians of Fate. This is a Dark Arcane Killer Slayer card. And because it boosts all Slayer cards, you can see the battle skill here. It will boost all Dark Slayer heroes. And it also increases Dark Slayer attack, so it doesn't help with commander cards, okay? So what I can do here is I can then bring in, for example, the Freedom Fighters, which is a Slayer Immortal card. Well, if I'm going to be bringing in an Immortal card, then one of the things I can do is I can bring in High Performance Unit Area only against bosses that don't have Toxin, okay? So if I don't have to deal with Toxin, then I would do something like this. So what I'm getting here is I'm getting the Slayer boost plus the nuke damage from from Freedom Fighters, and then I'm getting the attack boost from High Performance Unit Area. It isn't going to give me a huge boost in commander events, but it's going to be something. And I get the +5 commander gem boost. And some of the things I can also consider is I could consider running, let's see, because I could do something like this. I could use this to help me, right? I can use this to help. I can use defraggers, for example. It will help. I can also get some additional damage, although given that I am using Custodians of Fate as a leader, I'm probably not going to get as much damage. And so one of the other things I can consider here is, yeah, I can't use Freedom Fighters because it boosts all. It boosts all slayers. So alternatively, I could also use high performance unit area as a leader, because what this card will do is it will give me boost to all immortal killer cards. And so if I forgo the damage from my Custodians of Fate, I just use it as a card that gives me the damage boost. Or not the damage boost, but basically for the killer skill, then I'm going to be boosting my Freedom Fighters, and I'm going to be boosting my high performance unit area, and high performance unit area also will give defraggers additional damage, right? So that's actually going to work out better. And then I can also say, well, if it's a commander event and I don't need to deal with Toxin, then I could also put in the regular unit area, which I can double up on. Okay. The only problem here is I can't use a ton of immortal intensity relics. I have to use Arcane Relic in order to break the shields. So let's go ahead and take a look at the shields that we can break. So if we start with Arcane, what else is there? So remember, if you're thinking about going up to, if you're thinking about, breaking the Radiant bosses shields, you have to deal with 7 of them. Okay, so you're gonna have to bring in something that can give you more than 2. Like now it's getting to a point where you kind of have to have the ultimate relics at either 2 pink stars, or you need more, multiple of them. And so I don't have really a lot of dark ones. I mean, I have these 2. I have also one from earlier. It's just that none of these are going to really help me out. So if I can take a look here, I don't really have a good arcane. I don't really have good arcane shields that will help me break them. I could probably bring in the Slayer one though. So let's take a look at our Dark Slayer. And so this one is not going to help me, right? So unfortunately, you can see I don't really have good relics. So this is where I'm going to have to really, be creative here. I might even do something like this just so that I could get my, just so I can get the arcane shields broken. And I would do something like this. And then I will probably say, okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need 7 total. And if we take a look at the Dark Commander, I can at least use, I don't even remember which one. Here it is, right? So that's 3. I was kind of hoping that I could do, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What I will do is I will go ahead and do this Arcane Killer with the dark one. So this is 7. And then I will bring in an Immortal Killer Relic. That will at least help me increase my intensity. The problem here with this setup is I will not be able to build up my intensity for Immortal Killer to 200 that quickly. So that is the only thing. It's going to take me time to build up to it. But this is an option where if I am not worrying about Toxin and I can survive long enough, then what I can do is I could build up my intensity to 200. I can maximize my damage output, and then I will be able to use my Freedom Fighters full damage output to attack. So that is one possible option if you don't have the killer skill for Dark Commander. I don't have this. I don't have a Dark Arcane Commander deck. You can see this is what I have. Right? This is the deck that these are all I have. So I'm not going to be able to use any killer skills in this particular Dark Commander event. And so this is sort of like the next best thing that I can think of. Just looking at other options now, if you take a look at other Slayer decks, for me it's because I have a Dark Slayer deck that also has the killer skill. If you have a Dark Commander deck that gives you the Dark Arcane Commander bonus, then you should use another option, another deck. Right, and so for me, like looking at some of the other decks around here, another option I could go with is to say, well, let's not worry about putting in a second hyper permanence unit area. Instead, let's go ahead and add in Regal Revolutionaries. And what Regal Revolutionaries does is it's also a commander. It's also a Slayer Immortal Killer card. And what this card will do is it gives you a, it gives you the upgrade. Okay, so if you look at the passive ability, whenever you use a battle skill that creates power gem, it will heal and then create additional power gem 1, and then upgrades 4 of those gems by 1 level. So you're not upgrading everything, but you're getting some upgrade. And so the combination of everything that you're going to use here, I think this is going to help increase your ultimately, what you're hoping to do is you're increasing the damage of your freedom fighters the most. So this is one option. Are there going to be other options? Probably. We're going to have to explore a little bit. But all that is to say, this deck on its own, I think, is a really good utility deck that you can use with a lot of Dark Commander events. If you don't have it, hopefully you have the Dark Slayer option. And if you do, this is what I would recommend. This is what I would go with. And so let's see. We've got a question from somebody who probably hasn't played in a while. So, so the prices haven't changed. They haven't really changed the prices. They have a couple of times where they've reduced it to 50%, but in general, that would be the same as always. Will and Kessler, what about the with defraggers and with the event deck? Yeah, so what I had mentioned earlier is if you had defraggers, you could use that. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to Dark Commander now. So if you have defraggers, combine that with, you can also do this, right? You can also do Hyper Performance Unit Area, defraggers, and then Ultimate Form, okay, of the current event Ultimate Form, Colossi, Master Collection card. So now what you've got is you've got Power Gem upgrade, damage boost, self damage boost, an additional 1200%. Is it 1200? 2500 attack boost. Okay, so that is also an option, right? So if you're going with one Master Collection card, one Ultimate Form for this event deck, run it with defraggers, and run it with High Performance Unit Area and then Earth Shaking Colossi, you are probably going to, I can't predict how much damage you're going to deal, but that seems like it's going to be a really good combination also. And so I can't really, unfortunately, I can't really show it, but it's going to look something like this, right? So you get the Colossi here, and then, let's go with this is Arcane Killer Commander. And I'll just put these two in here. Pretend that this is an Ultimate Form and Master Collection card. This is what it's going to look like. Another option you can go with is if you take a look at the Noble Killer. So you also have the Noble Killer. Now, I don't have this deck either, but this is the deck that I think it also increases the Noble Killer damage. So let's say you have the Ultimate Form of this deck that I can't even show you the skills. But I know what it does is it gives all Noble Killer cards, added damage. And so you can do something like this. You can have those cards, and then instead you can just switch the defraggers out. If you don't have defraggers, for example, you can use this option. Okay, and so anything that gives like self damage boost, or gives all blah 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 cards additional damage, all of those things will pair really well with this event deck. And because what you're doing is you're getting additional damage output for every card. And given that this is a commander event, if all things being equal, if they all have the same attack stats, then the one that has the most sort of boost on top of it is going to deal the most damage. And so in this particular case, I'm going to go back to showing you the Immortal Killer card. In this particular example, where we have, again, you have to just pretend that it is, where I have the ultimate form, I have the Master Collection card, and I have Earth Shaking Colossi, and then I have Defraggers, and then I run High Performance Unit Area. The one card that is going to deal the most damage out of this entire group, assuming they have the same attack values, is going to be a Defraggers, because Defraggers gives itself additional damage boost, right? It's only 50%. All right, so it's not like 300% like Brothers in Banditry, but it's still something more. And so some people, like, they would get surprised to say, why is my ultimate form for this particular event doing less damage than another card that is old? The reason for that is because you're in the commander event, and when you're in the commander event, no cards are going to get more boost than the other. It's shared for everyone, so it's its own stats that will matter. Okay, so because Defraggers gives its own card additional boost, you're going to get more damage. Interesting fact, if you were to play this deck and if you put in the same thing, right? If you put the event card here, so if you have Albus the Lookout, assuming that the damage amount is equal, because this card gives its own damage by 60%, what you're going to see is if the damage is the same, if you put this card in with your ultimate form, and the attack is the same, Albus is actually going to deal more damage because it has an additional damage boost. So that's just like something to think about, something to be aware of. Not everybody's, I don't think everybody's aware of that particular mechanic. And so I just want to make sure that I explain it. Okay. And so Vincent Hartman, thank you very much. Have a good evening as well. Thank you for joining me. And so I think that I'm probably going to be okay. And one of the suggestions that I have as well is, like, if you don't really have the deck, but if you're in a good guild, then at least it's okay because you can still tag with, you can tag the bosses, you can hit what you can, and still collect the trophies that way. In commander events, given that we're all sharing the same trophies, it's easier to get by without a deck compared to like a Slayer event. And so I think that for me, it's unfortunate I couldn't get this particular deck. I would have really liked it. And so far, between, the Water Slayer and this one, both are super good. Both are super good good cards. So I can't really say one is better than the other, but I would say that this is going to definitely be a popular deck for Dark Commander events in the future. And so I think that it's good. I think that it's going to be a interesting deck for sure to see like what kind of damage we're going to be seeing out there. And as always, people are going to be giving a lot of suggestions also. So if you have something that is, different than what I've suggested, please feel free to comment below and we can talk about that also. So there's a question on what is going to be the best option for the Proving Grounds for this particular season. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Proving Grounds store. So if you take a look at the Proving Grounds store, you'll see that I've already used up my coins. And the reason I use it is so that I can get the Headstrong Sirens. Turned out to be less useful than I had hoped, but I think it's still something I wanted to collect. So if we take a look here, what is the best for this season? All of these are actually really good. So if you can only use one, it's hard to say. So I don't actually have these cards either. And so it's hard for me to be able to say, oh, this is definitely better than the other. So I would say don't get the water one anymore, just because it's past. You're not going to be able to really take advantage of it anymore, so I wouldn't go with that. Out of the rest of the dark, earth, light, and fire ones, I would say if you can make any ultimate form out of these, you should prioritize that first. Assuming that you already have either jailers or the perceptive gurus, okay, or even high performance unit area. So these are still cards that are available. If you don't have those cards, then I would say that you're still going to get a ton of benefit from either high performance unit area on its own, really good, or consecrated wizardess on its own, also really good, because as long as you can use delay with those cards, you're always going to get arcane bonus. So those are always going to be good. Regal Revolutionaries is probably going to be just a hair below in my book, okay, for the previous ones. And I think I actually use Perceptive Gurus a lot also in my deck. And so these are like this past season, tons of really good cards. I would still recommend that you take a look and see if you can form any of the ultimate forms first before you take a look at the Proving Ground store for this season. Now, if you have those, you're not short on them, what would I recommend? So the Beast Killer one for fire, right? So this is the Ring Royalty. It does have, a increased attack at the beginning of every turn, which can be useful situationally, but I don't think that it's quite as good as the light and the earth cards. I think the earth and the light ones are going to be the best options, but they're not really ones I would say, if you don't have either, I wouldn't say, spend your coins to collect them over 2 seasons. What I would say is it's better for you to collect one of these cards now so that you can, benefit yourself in the future. So if you still don't have high-performance unit area, this is your last chance. Make sure you can get this, so you can get the. It's not so like the ultimate form is it's going to be good, give you the immortal killer bonus, but it's the high performance unit area that I think is going to give you the benefit. Then the next one after that, I would go with jailers, right? So focus on getting jailers. If you don't have it, highly recommend it. Perceptive Gurus also going to be something that will work really well in all fire events. Okay, so these are going to be my recommendations. Like as opposed to like looking ahead for this season, I would focus on the previous season. I think that's going to give you something that will help you in all events. Like you see me talk about these all the time. Okay, like I use them everywhere, and I would think that it is something that you should focus on. And I think you're right, Jericho. Queen Mother is, I think, one that a lot of people already got as a free gift. So it could technically also choose to go with Lady Lionheart, so you can form the ultimate form, so you can help yourself with, also future Dark Immortal Slayer cards. Although it's a good card, but it's not better than like Jailers, for example. And so Cask W, you also have your own ranking. So Hair Extraordinary to you was actually number 1, followed by Haunted Hunters, and then Flourishing Fairies. So I don't actually know enough about the Dark one to say, but I do remember seeing that the Flourishing Fairies has, especially since it's arcane, it works super well with jailers also. And so like that's why you take a look at the cards, and you want to make sure that you're investing in something that can be used for many events, and not one that is just going to be for a single event. So my preference is for you to go with the cards I've mentioned. Those are going to be tried and true, still useful no matter what, in every situation, on affinity, off affinity, what have you. It's really like Arcane Killer, you know what you're going to use. Immortal Killer, you know what you're going to use. So those are the cards that you want to go with. Then after that, then I would say probably go after like Flourishing Fairies, or go with the Haunted Hunters. But then like really by next season, you're going to get better cards that you're going to be able to use. So that would be a recommendation. This season, less important compared to the previous seasons. That would be my recommendation. And so Brandon Cantrell says the area should also be in Drill Fist Depot this week. So more options to collect something that you'll benefit from for many events. Like it may not be the most, it may not be the best card around anymore with a lot of the damage boost cards out there, and especially since like it seems like every single commander event we have Toxin to deal with, so it's not the best, but it's still really useful. So I think that would be something I would recommend. So Cass W, you have high performance unit area. You're saving up for Goliath, though you're really bad in attack or damage boost. Which one should you go with next? If you're talking about the Proving Ground store, so I would say, it depends on what you are looking at, right? Like, and also what you have. So the question is like, do you have jailers? If you have jailers, then you should probably go with that. Do you have the option to go with flourishing fairies? You should go with that. And so flourishing fairies also have upgrades. So yes, that's good. Right? I have forgotten about those. We will see. Yeah, so here it is, right? So Queen Damaska is the one that will upgrade 6 power gems 1 level higher. The upgrade skills, I would say, come closely second to the damage boost if we're talking about one rank higher. So one rank higher, your overall damage increase is still going to be lower than the 80% damage boost that we're seeing here. And so I would actually still rank anything that gives you damage boost higher, then followed by anything that gives you upgrade. Anything else that gives you attack boost isn't going to be as good as these older cards anymore. Like, I haven't seen anything that gives as good attack boost, so they're really going to be phased out in the future. So like, these are really your last opportunities to get them. So if you already have them, you don't need them, great, look forward to something different. And so you have, let's see, so Jericho, you already have jailers and high performance unit area, then that's awesome. Then I would say look for opportunities to boost your earth arcane deck with flourishing fairies. I think that's also going to be a really good option. Haunted Hunters is good for light noble, but it takes time. So if you take a look, right, so Haunted Hunters requires you to, basically the skill is going to be here. It requires you to stack up your alchemized 6 times before you can maximize your damage. But if you do, you're getting 120% damage boost for all noble killer. And so all of these are actually really good cards to get. It's just it's situational. So I don't think you're going to. I don't think there's really any that would say in this particular season, except for Apex, Apex Predators. All of them are pretty good. Okay, so what I could do is let's go and take a look at CastW's cards real quick, so I can give a quick recommendation before I sign off for the night. And so let's see if we take a look at your cards. And so we can take a look at Earth first. So we can take a look at Earth Arcane. And so it looks like what I'm seeing here is no jailers, right? And no jailers and no flourishing fairies. Which one's going to be better? Honestly, in my opinion, you're better off getting you're going to be better off getting the one of the two this season and then get the other one next season. There's 2 more seasons remaining for jailers, and just looking at the cards, I actually think that is probably going to be your best bet, right? So if we take a look at Immortal, you should already have high performance unit area, so that's good. So here's my recommendation, just looking at cards without going any further, just looking at, sort of planning ahead. Next season is going to be the last season that jailers will be around. This is one of the most useful cards I can think of, and you already have high performance unit area. I would go with getting Consecrated Wizardess first, so that you can pair with any Earth delayers, and then follow that up with getting the Master Collection card option, so that you could also get your ultimate form. And this will also probably be available in the future. So you could probably also get that in a future Drill Fist Depot. That would be what I would focus on out of all of these cards for you. Okay. And there's also a question on the attack boost of Ring Royalty. Is it at a rate of 1? So basically the maximum you can get for Ring Royalty, if you take a look at its explanation, is it's based on health. And so it's whatever health percent it's at. And so if you take a look at the skill, if you had 100% health, then it's 100% attack boost. So if you get hit and you don't heal fully, let's say the next turn you're at 95% health, then your attack boost is going to be at 95%. So the attack boost isn't really all that great. It's just that it's passive. You're getting it every turn. And what you're really doing is you're using this skill to power up others that get stronger if there is an attack boost already. And so that's how it works. So Jim Paulson, I'm doing well. Thank you very much for joining me in the stream here. And so I think this is my recommendation. Again, just to quickly summarize, I would say that if you don't have any of the 3 top cards of the legendary Game of Heroes history, go with them first. And then you have 2 seasons to try and collect the ultimate form for jailers, which, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, one of the most heavily used cards in so many situations. I used it in the last water deck. Okay, I still use jailers in the last water deck. So it's a water event, but I use jailers because I could. Okay, and this was the deck that I used because I also can pair it with the Lost Kingdom Guardians plus Wave Breakers to really good effect. In fact, this is the card Apex Predators that was just there for support. Any future water events, I could swap out any other killer skill, and this deck would still remain viable. And so I would say that Jailers is going to be the most versatile, and that's why I always recommend, if you can, try to get the full ultimate form. Don't worry about anything else. Focus on this one because you only have 2 seasons remaining. This is the perfect time to get that. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about the Ring Royalty attack boost. Not quite there. And then going back to this particular event, what I would say is if you have the resources and you're looking to get a deck, you're trying to get something that's going to give you good output damage, this is the deck that definitely will do so. This deck will give you the kind of damage output you're looking for, and is going to be useful for basically all future Dark Commander events, just like Earth-Shaking Colossi, right? In fact, it's a little bit more powerful. It's an upgraded version of Colossi, so combining those 2 is the same as combining Immolating Fae and Exalted Champions, and also oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot the name already. Immolating Fae, Exalted Champions, and Altion's New Guard. They're all damage. They all increase your damage output. Combining all 3 of them has always worked really well in Fire Commander events. Same thing with this particular deck with Colossi. Ninja Nanas, welcome to the stream. Nice to see you here. So you got a full deck by T3. That's great. What can boost your deck up? Well, if you have the full deck, so what you missed is I would go with the following. So just kind of wrap it up again. I would go with putting in Defraggers, because it gives you an additional 50% on top of the damage. So go with your Ultimate Form, Master Collection card Ultimate Form. If you have Colossi, put it in. If you don't, but if you have Defraggers, put that in. And then if you want to put in Defraggers, then it's an option if you want to put in Hyperformation Area just for additional attack boost. But that is really optional because Defraggers will really be able to dispel everything for you. But it's always something to check out. So congratulations for getting the full deck by T3. My tier 3 poll wasn't quite as successful. I got 2 support cards and 1 relic, and so I will not be using the full deck, but I am envious of any of you who have it. I think it's going to be great. So hopefully this helps you with deciding on a setup. Let me know if there's any other ideas that you come up with. Love to see different deck ideas. And that's going to be it from me for today, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me. And CastW, thanks for joining me all the way through. And thanks again for the donations.